Mutants. The children of the atom, hated and feared for their gifts, yet regularly adapted into film and TV. While the 90s series is the X-Men's most respected and remembered incarnation, in 1989 a pilot for the prospective series Pryde of the X-Men was made. As the wordplay utilised in title implies, it would chronicle Kitty Pryde's recruitment to the comic contemporary lineup of the X-Men. Though before these elements are revealed, the version on YouTube shows live action footage of Spider-Man himself urging viewers to vote and or register while filling in a form. I've been unable to discover who played him in this footage. My theories are it's either the real Spider-Man or Patrick Stewart, and that this performance somehow granted him the role of Professor X in the movies. The pilot then begins with an ultra-energetic, dramatic, rock-influenced theme song, which is soon followed by an enthusiastic, dramatically worded narration from the late great Stan Lee himself. Shortly after this, Magneto is rescued from a maximum security van by Emma Frost. Meanwhile, Kitty Pryde is being introduced to Professor X, who introduces her to the other X-Men while explaining their powers. He also explains Kitty's powers. Professor Exposition. Confusingly, he tells Kitty the real names of Cyclops, Colossus and Dazzler, but only refers to Wolverine, Storm and Nightcrawler by their code names. My theory is that last time he showed anyone the mansion he forgot to give Cyclops, Colossus and Dazzler's real names, so this time he deliberately didn't name the other three in order to maintain balance for the sake of Thanos. Another noteworthy aspect is that Wolverine is inexplicably Australian, and later the canonically Australian Pyro appears. I wonder if the show never continued because the budget was spent on Australian characters? Maybe they could realistically only afford one. Amidst the ensuing array of space travel, combat and complications, the X-Men battle Magneto and his Brotherhood, which, other than the aforementioned Pyro and Emma Frost, includes Juggernaut, the Blob, and Toad, who sounds somewhat like Peter Lorre but is voiced by Frank Welker, also known for voicing Scooby-Doo and every other animal noise on every animated feature ever. This pilot proves that when not voicing animals, he's voicing animal-themed characters. The X-Men aim to stop Magneto from using Cerebro's power circuit to send a comet to Earth, causing an ice age that would weaken humans by blocking the sun so mutants could rule. Even though this would kill most humans, meaning they were less to rule over, and also presumably kill many, many mutants, since very few have powers that involve surviving the sun being blocked out. How would they even discover that ability? The X-Men thwart Magneto's plans. Sorry, that's a huge spoiler. I'd like to imagine that before the episode was finished, the team found out the show wouldn't be made, and considered changing the ending so that Magneto's plan actually succeeds, complemented by a depressing monologue from Stan Lee claiming that the X-Men are failures. In my opinion, that's a less tragic end than the false implied promise of future episodes, since alas, only a pilot was ever made. Allegedly, comic book purists disliked certain changes, and others viewed the show as an oversimplification of the source material's darkness and complication. This pilot is rife with genuine merit regardless. The high-quality animation, capable voice performances, wide cast, and traditional adventurous tone should have warranted continuation. There are clear flaws. Nightcrawler's behaviour towards Kitty is mildly uncomfortable, though this seemingly wasn't addressed as an issue in contemporary critiques. Generally, it seems stronger, or at least no weaker an offering than several 80s cartoons that did continue. The balanced focus between Professor X's men, now I understand the name, is another positive feature given several other adaptations over-publicised Wolverine at the expense of others. It also featured a unique lineup. Dazzler is barely acknowledged in future adaptations, and Colossus is somewhat disserviced, possessing a fairly minor role in the animated series, being forced into villainy in X-Men Evolution, and in the case of Wolverine and the X-Men, he disappears after episode 1. Well, he disappears after episode 1 of Pryde of the X-Men too, but since there only was one episode, that trait applies to all the characters. The highlighted plot problems and underexplored subtext may have been inevitable first episode obstacles to be avoided in future, if only the show was given a chance at evolution. X-Men Evolution. My hope is that eventually the show will be continued with a new creative team, expertly capturing the pilot's art style and essence while casting the original voice actors or soundalikes. The 90s show was clearly influenced by this pilot, as was the famous Konami arcade game, but a more explicit continuation would be extremely welcome. We're never even told who Spider-Man was voting for or whether his vote made a difference. Was it a vote against Magneto destroying the Earth? While Marvel's RoboCop cartoon that was cancelled to fund this pilot offered some strengths, Pryde of the X-Men's premise and execution is much more impressive than that of RoboCop the animated series. The episode can be viewed on YouTube and I sincerely thank the uploaders for that opportunity. Thanks for watching this video. If I don't see you next time, I'll assume it's because Magneto has succeeded in his attempt to send a comet to Earth. X-Men, X-Men, this is the day, X-Men, coming your way. Magneto's hordes are on their way to pillage, burn, and plunder. But there's one team that will not yield, the team that strikes like thunder. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.